Let's talk about humility. On today's episode, we're going to talk about being humbled. Having humility, but sometimes being humbled by life when we didn't know that we needed a little bit of that humbling. So stay tuned because we're going to talk about a few different things, from what does it look like to have more humility as a leader in your relationships and your business and how that can help you, and also what to do when life sort of humbles you and makes you reevaluate what is really important. Let's talk about being humble. And I really want to dive into this whole idea of humility and what does this mean for you as you show up in your life, in your work, in your relationships. And this whole idea of humility actually came to me a couple months ago. Obviously, we hear about humility and being humble, but I've been really thinking about it, percolating. I feel like I don't use that word very often, but percolating on it and really thinking about what does it mean to be humble. And it came up when I was at one of my favorite events that I go to during the year. One of my favorite conferences is the National Speakers Association Influence event, which is one of their largest events. You get all of these absolutely amazing speakers together from all over the world together. And one of our keynote speakers who was on stage, he was absolutely amazing. And he was talking about humility. And not only was he talking about it, but he was demonstrating it in his speech. And man, that really stood out to me because every speaker that I see has a different style. I help people to become better, more confident speakers. And one of the things that I always talk about is being authentic and that there's no one right way to do it. But I will say that I had never seen somebody deliver a speech and integrate their whole concept into their speech so much. And he was talking all about being humble in our lives and in our leadership and the work that we do, and being a humble leader and not making it all about us, but really calling out and elevating and exemplifying other people. And he did it throughout his speech by calling out different people in the audience. There's tons and tons of people at this event, and calling out specific people who he had just met at lunch or at the conference, people who he had been connected with for years, who have helped kind of pull him up when he's been down, who've helped make connections for him in the speaking world. And he called them out, and he didn't just say thank you. He gave a genuine, authentic thank you, all of these people there, and he was looking at and talking right to them. And I have been really thinking about this idea of humility and how can we be more humble, and how can we be more humble people and leaders. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about it because it also, so that came up for me in this whole idea of leadership, or as business owners, or as somebody who's growing in your own personal or self-development, is like, what does it mean to be humble? And also I help a lot of people with confidence, being more confident speaking up in meetings, being more confident asking for opportunities, having this presence and this influence. And sometimes we make the mistake of seeing these as like mutually exclusive. You're either humble or you're confident. And I think sometimes we almost twist the definitions of these to be like, if we're being humble, that must mean that we're being like meek or mild, or that we're not, having this strong influence and this strong presence. And actually, I want to talk about this idea of this duality and how the best leaders, the people who are so self-assured and who I say like are magnetic to people, they have this ability to hold both. They have this humility about them, and they also have this confidence. You can be humble and confident. You can be humble and assertive. You can be humble and proud. You can be humble and influential, and this amazing ability to hold both. And also, though, in a world and in a society where we're all just running at like 100 miles an hour, where organizations are changing, where people are getting let go, where there's sort of this like me versus you mentality, and this, showcase all of your abilities and tell everybody how great you are so that you can prove yourself to everybody and get these accolades. And, we're just going from thing to thing to thing. We forget this idea of humility. And I don't think of course, there's people out there who I think have ill intent and they are kind of in your face, showy, those people where it's literally like me, me, me. I tend to want to see the best in people, and I don't think necessarily people are not being humble with ill intention. I think it's sort of just this way that we have set people up, this competitiveness, this need to like be in it for yourselves and to prove yourself and to prove your worth and to strive and to achieve and all these things, that humility kind of gets set to the side because we feel like we should be doing something else. And so it's come up for me in that regard. And also, just for me, with the year we've had, like I could not possibly make up the year that we have had just personally. And I share some of the stuff on the podcast. So I know obviously some of what's, just the and it's not just me, right? I always say like that's humbling to me when I'm like, wow, we've had a crazy year. I can't believe all this stuff happened. And then all of a sudden I feel like someone's like, oh, really? Let me tell you. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that puts things into perspective, that we really have had just the craziest year, the craziest things that have happened. It's going to be a book someday. It's going to be all the stories on stage that I'll share, all of the things, but just crazy things that have happened all year, one thing after another. And with all of that, with health things and house things, just all this stuff that's happened, my husband and my son and I, we talk regularly around how humbling this year has been. And I share this authentically and transparently to just say that sometimes we need to be humbled. Now, of course, we don't want to walk through all of the tough moments in our lives again. And at the same time, I really do believe that we can, like those things were happening for us for a reason that we don't see right away when we're in the midst of it. But looking back, we can see what we can learn from that, with the opportunities that come from that. And through all of those seasons, one of the things that my husband and I have really talked about and has said, and we've even talked to our son Sawyer about it so that he can understand, is really putting those things into perspective. And Jake and I both are very, motivated. We both run businesses. We both want to help so many people. We want to do so many things. And we have for years, we have these visions and, all of these things that we want to be able to do, and all these these things we want to start, and the money that we want to make in order to be able to impact more people and have the lives we want, all of those things. And those things in of themselves aren't wrong. If you are somebody who's an achiever and you want to achieve things, you want to help people, you want to help your own family, all of those things, there's no right or wrong in it. One thing though that we realized is that when life comes and sometimes you strip away all of the things that don't really matter, and it comes down to your own health and your relationships and your family and your own satisfaction, your own life. When you strip all of those other things away, it's you coming back and like sitting with yourself and your family and your relationships and realizing what's really important. Oftentimes it doesn't happen to us in life until you get humbled by something. Like you lose things. And when you strip all of those things away, you're like, wow. And so we've talked a lot about, while it wasn't wrong, it's never been wrong for us to want all of these things and to achieve these things. It really comes down to the core of like what matters most and from what place is it coming from. And so for us, and I've shared this on some of my social media too, of just like how it just brings you back to your center of like what really matters. And all of those things you can still desire and you can still want, and you'll still get in some way, shape, or form. Sometimes the things you wanted weren't meant for you because something else was meant for you, right? And at the end of the day, though, it's really coming down to like, what are your priorities? And for us, we've done that and we've kind of come home to that in a few different ways. But as a family, like we have agreed that this year, while the toughest year for all of us, so far, has really strengthened our relationships as a family. Really, like in the toughest of moments, right? In a year that could make or break people, it has strengthened my relationship with my son. It's strengthened our relationship as a family dynamic. It's strengthened my relationship with my husband, because it really reminds you of what really matters. And sometimes that humbling is just what we needed to kind of have this like reset, this like cleaning, this like cleansing of all of the clutter and all of the noise that we can get caught up into, and kind of come back to home base of what really matters and growing from that place. And so I was thinking about this. I was On my way this morning, right before I recorded this, I've had multiple, after my melanoma surgery that I had at the end of last year, we've had multiple other, spots and things that we've been keeping close eye on and biopsies and just kind of checking on like things, making sure that nothing is there. And so I had another sort of pre-cancerous, pre-melanoma spot that we had to remove. I was getting the stitches removed. And I remember just thinking like, okay, I'm so grateful we found it. And this is a bummer to get more stitches. And at the same time, I'm in the clear, like we were able to find it. And I was thinking about this on that drive of going to get those stitches removed, of just like how humbling and how it makes me an even better leader, and how it makes me to be able to walk in, someone else's shoes who's going through tough things, who's trying to run a business, or who's trying to lead things. When you've got all these, we never know what people are all experiencing and going through. And sometimes we think that the challenges we have disqualify us, but really those are the things that qualify you. Those are the things that qualify you for what you want to do, because you have this new perspective that other people don't have. And you've got this deeper drive and this deeper why behind what you're doing. And it's just humility to go like, yeah, I've been there, right? Whether it's in a leadership role, whether it's in a health challenge, whether it's a relationship challenge, to say like, yeah, everybody experiences these things, and we can be humbled to realize that what really matters at the core of what we're doing, it is amazing. And I'm so excited to grow from that place of that humility, and also to just think about how do I continue to be humble personally, professionally, and also share this message with other leaders. Because as I'm working with small business owners or entrepreneurs, as I'm working with leaders in organizations, and we want to showcase, like we need, not just want to, we need to showcase, all of our wins and why we're qualified and why someone should work with us, or why someone should give us that promotion, why pitching our ideas and influencing. We need to be confident. We need to be authentic. We need to have a strong and powerful voice. And at the same time, we can hold this humility that we don't have all of the answers, that we need other people, that we can't do it alone. And that is a sign of an amazing leader, however you define leader, whether you're leading actual people, projects, initiatives, ideas, because you know that you can't do it alone. You have to take other people along with you. You have this strong anchoring into your values, and that this duality, that you can have this humility as a person and as a leader, and also have this amazing confidence and presence and assertiveness and pride in what you do. And so I hope this message lands for you, whether it's a reminder about how can you embrace more humility as a leader, and sometimes let on and say, hey, I don't have all of the answers. However, I have a strength in X, Y, and Z. I have a strength in bringing people together. I have a strength in building teams that have the answers. I have an ability to say, hey, I don't know the answer, but let me figure that out. Or maybe your humility is in your own personal life, and you've had challenges personally or professionally. And now, there's so many things going on in the world. Maybe you've been humbled by life a little bit. And that's your reminder that that's not a bad thing, that sometimes that humbling is just what we needed when we didn't know that we needed it. And now we can rebuild from this place, from this new, stronger foundation of our priorities, of our values, of what really matters. And we will far exceed all of the goals that we had, because we have this clarity and this conviction in what we're doing. So my reminder for you is to be humble and be confident.